friends, welcome back to the Whoa That's Good podcast. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Y'all, I am so excited for today. It is going to be such a fun conversation, but also so inspiring because this guy is truly both of those things, fun and inspiring. We have Jimmy Darts on the podcast. If you don't follow him on social media, go check out all of his social accounts. He is bumping on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, you name it. He's such a great person, and I'm glad that I finally get to meet you. So Jimmy, welcome to the podcast.
Yes, thank you so much. Great to meet you too. And just thankful to be on here and encourage some people to have fun, loosen their shoulders up a little bit.
Yes.
If they got 10 cents, $10, be generous with it. And just, you can never go broke by giving. And God truly blesses generosity. In every ways. Yeah. And
Come
always.
on. You can never go broke by giving. That is so good. One time a mentor told me, she said, I dare you to try to outgive God. And she was like, you never will. And she was telling me that just in the context of being generous. And it was so crazy. It's like every time I would give, it's not even that like I would get back financial like stuff. You know, it's not like, oh, I'm expecting if I give 20, I'm getting 20 or I'm getting 40. Yeah. Not like that. It's like, but if you give the abundance that comes back in return of just like goodness, it's just so incredible. And so I've taken that word, but I love what you just said. That's so good.
Yeah, it's exactly. Yeah, it's not that you're just gonna get like 20 and change for 20, but it's like that God will just, he gives you more of himself. You know, it asks like, seek first the kingdom, he'll give you the desires of your heart. And yes, it can look like your job, this and that, like cool things, but really it's just more of him, more of his presence when we live that lifestyle of Jesus. And that's the reward.
That's so good. And honestly, there really is nothing better. And to some people listening, I think, it's such a shame that there is such like a prosperity gospel out there because it's like, oh, well, you get. But God's presence is so much better than getting the return of just in finances or just in the cool things or just in the house or the thing. It's like, no, his presence is actually so much greater because it's everlasting. And so I love that you're preaching that. I cannot wait to dive in. I feel like we're already in. So this is so good. I want to ask you the question I ask everybody, and I'll tell you why I always ask people this question. I always ask people, what's the best piece of advice they've ever been given? And I ask that because the people on this podcast are super influential. Everyone on this podcast inspires people with the things that they say, but it's really cool to see who inspired you or what inspired you. So what's a good piece of advice that you were given that just really did something for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I guess the one piece of advice I can remember, and it's always stuck in my head, was, I don't know, it was maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. My friend Ryan Lupton, he told me in my house once, he said, Jimmy, you got to be Santa Claus in private before you're Santa Claus in public.
Wow.
And I literally heard him say that, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's so true. Like, I just wanted to start doing videos and I wanted to start helping people and doing all this crazy stuff. And it was just such a good reminder, you got to just do 3 times, 20 times more in private than you do in public. And so I actually took that advice literal.
Wow.
And I moved to Austin, Texas, like a few months later, and I literally bought a Santa Claus outfit. It wasn't even Christmas. It was like the middle of August. And I would afterward go around in my Santa suit and just like kick it with homeless people, like take people shopping at Walmart. And like, it was, just not on video, just having a blast. And it's really so true, like the worst case scenario is people meet you in person and they're like, oh, you're different than what I saw in the video.
Yeah.
Like that is just so sad. But when you can truly live that authentic lifestyle, and it's like, man, I don't care if you run into me at the movie theater or at Chuck E. Cheese, you're going to get the same me anywhere you go.
That is so good. I love that so much. You're so right. That really is the worst. That is the worst. I think fear too for me doing what I do, being so publicly, that someone would meet me and be like, oh, she was so different. That's why I like thrive on authenticity. I'm not going to do anything that isn't true about who I really am because like I feel like there's a verse in the Bible that says the godly walk with integrity. And I love that verse because I think integrity is something that is just, it's of such value, but it's it can get lost in this day and age of so much filtering. You get to choose what you look like to everybody, but to have integrity is to be exactly who you are off the screen that you are on the screen. You're not doing it because you're gaining followers. You're doing it because it's who you are. It's what you love to do. It's what God's put on your heart. And it's so 100%. True. Like your ministry shouldn't just be for a platform. Your ministry is wherever you are. And so I love that advice was given to you. I think it's so cool. So
Yeah.
take us back to when this all started. What gave you the desire to go kick it with homeless people in a Santa Claus outfit in the first place?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, yeah, I've been a crazy kid my entire life. Basically, yeah, when I grew up, my parents for Christmas, they'd always give us $200, and it was $100 to keep and $100 to give away to somebody. So
Wow.
right then, at like 5, 6 years old, I'm just hanging out, not hanging out, but me and my mom would be driving. I'd be like, can I get out here? I run over to like a guy on the street or someone buying groceries, give them 100. So right away, just become comfortable with strangers, comfortable with people. And yeah, my parents are just incredible,
That's
amazing.
cool.
But I really was crazy. I was a wild kid. I got into partying a lot, did a lot of wild stuff. And originally I started making party videos, like just crazy stuff. Like I'd like jump and break a table, or I'd be running around in a Speedo, or I'd like punch myself in the face till my face was covered in blood. Like I'd do anything crazy. Just, I love craziness, right? And my identity, I just didn't know who I was, what I was, or anything. And long story short, yeah, when I was 18 years old, this is where the whole thing started, because I can't get into talking about generosity or what I do without talking about Jesus, because that's truly the whole point of everything. And that's what even gave me the inspiration to do it. But I was at this party in the woods in Minnesota with these socks on. They had a little Jesus logo on it like this from Urban Outfitters. And yeah, so I was out there. I wasn't drinking or doing drugs or nothing like that. But my mom didn't know I partied or anything like that. So I was out there messing around, jumping over the fire, being a goofball. And on the way home, I was like, oh crap, my socks have burnt holes in them now. And I smell like smoke from the fire in the woods and all this stuff. I was like, she's going to know I've been partying. So I get home, sneak upstairs, and I'm just freaked out. And I'm literally like, Jesus, like, help me, like, please, like, heal my socks. And I hide the socks in my room, go to bed, just like praying God will come through or something. I wake up the next morning, no joke. And I always have to clarify this like 10 times. No, I've never done drugs in my life. I've only drinking alcohol like maybe 4 or 5 times. I just was a crazy person. I love just adrenaline, wild stuff. But that night I had no substances. And the next morning I woke up at like 4 a.m., 5 a.m., grabbed my socks where I had hid them. There was no holes in them.
What?
It was the only pair I had at that time there, and there was no holes in them. And I freaked out. And in my mind, I was like, wait a minute. If I was doing something bad, wouldn't God want me to get caught for it, right?
Wow.
Like, it doesn't make sense why he'd cover. And he just spoke so clearly to my heart. He goes, no, Jimmy, like, I want to be your friend before anything else.
Wow.
And that's actually what's going to transform you, is friendship with me. So right off the bat, I just knew Jesus in such a non-religious, just amazing way. Shortly after that, I gave my life to him. But really, yeah, just a lot of wild things happened. I went off the internet completely for like 4 or 5 years. Never thought I'd make videos again. I was down to just live in like the middle of nowhere. I'm from a town of like 900 people. So I just had no desire to be known by man or by anyone. Once I got the gospel, it was like, instead of God telling me you have to live this way, it was more like he ripped out my heart, gave me a new heart that desired to live that way.
Wow.
So now I don't feel like I have to or obligated. I feel like I get to live that way. So it's real freedom. And basically, I'm in Northern California in Redding, just praying on this mountain up there. I say mountain, I should clarify. It was like a tall hill, right? So I didn't like hike up. There's just like a nice medium-sized hill. So I'm up there just praying to Jesus, talking to him. I'm like, God, it's so cool. Like, you ripped out that desire to make videos. I have no desire to ever make content again. Like, that's so cool, because I don't know. It seemed like an idol in my old life, and now I just don't even care. That's awesome. And as soon as I said that, I literally felt like I heard him speak back to me, and I felt like just the Prince of God. He's like, Jimmy, I want you to go back into it. And I was like, what? And I literally could just feel him like breathe on me, and all of a sudden, all this passion and creativity just came back to me in a moment. And I was like, that's so crazy. It's literally like, I don't know. I get Bible names mixed up, whatever. But that guy, he's like about to like sacrifice his son, and then God provides like a sheep or goat. I don't know, whatever
Abraham.
it was. Yeah, Abraham and Isaac. Yeah. So it was like the same kind of vibe. It was like, as soon as I gave something up, God saw that idol was dead, and then brought it back to me in the way he wanted it to be, which
so
is
good.
And so that was right around COVID. So I went home in Minnesota, didn't really know what to do still, just wanted to make videos. And my dad said, Jimmy, what do you want to do with your life? I said, all right, if I could do anything, I would just travel around the country, give away as much money as possible, encourage people to be generous and kind, and eventually start a church called House Party Church with a water slide for baptisms and just a blast.
Yes.
And yeah. And my dad's super old school. So he's like, well, go do it. Start tomorrow. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, no, start tomorrow. I'm
Wow.
always hearing people like, wait till the open door, pray, this and that. But my dad's like, no, start tomorrow. So I
Yep.
literally got in my car, drove cross country, started filming videos. And
Wow.
first I started doing comedy videos to grow an audience. And then once I had that audience, I was like, now I think I have enough people to where we could raise funds and help someone. And the first kindness video I really did was I was in Miami, and there was this homeless man living on a beach. And I said, hey, bro, you want to be best friends for the day? And he goes, yeah, I got nothing else to do. So I literally kicked it with him. We went and played basketball, like, I don't know, rollerbladed around, got some food stuff. On the way home, he just starts breaking down in tears,
Wow.
crying. And he goes, I was actually suicidal today, wanted to end my life, but you coming in my life
Wow.
changed my whole perspective. And I was like, no way, what the heck, bro? And I was literally like, do you have Cash App? Just popped in my head the question, do you have Cash App? He said he did. I was like, I'm going to put it at the end of the video and just see if people will donate to you. Like, I don't know, maybe they will, maybe they won't. So I go to bed. The video's got like 10,000 views. I'm like, dang, the guy's not really going to raise any money for him. Like, shoot. I wake up, it's at like 15 million views. I call
What?
him. He gets over $30,000. He's like no longer homeless. He went and traveled South America for a while. And that's really when I was like, wow, this kindness thing is crazy. So many people want to help. And as a little kid, I was always like, man, people want to help, but they just don't know if they like can or if they trust the person, whatever. But if I can show videos of who the money's going to, they're going to love it. And
Wow.
that's really what started everything.
Friends, this year is already going fast. I always feel like January just flies by. How is Valentine's Day already almost here? But for a lot of us, this is a really busy season of buying and shipping. And I know going to the post office isn't the favorite thing for anyone to do. It's just, can be a little bit of a nuisance. But if you want to save yourself a bunch of time and not to mention some money, stamps.com will do all the things the post office can do for you. It's so easy. You can print your own postage and shipping labels right from your home or office. No post office needed. My dad's company, Duck Commander, actually uses stamps.com for their shipping, and my own team with Live Original uses it as well for our merch. And it's just really easy. It saved us a ton of time and money. And not only that, but they're able to find the best rates and discounts that you can't find anywhere else, like up to 84% off USPS and UPS. And what is not to love about that? Hello, if someone's finding you a deal, you better take it. I know many of you listening run your own businesses too, and stamps.com is just such a perfect fit, especially if you sell products online through someplace like Etsy or eBay. Stamps.com seamlessly connects with every major marketplace and shopping cart. All you need is a computer and a printer. So set up your business for success when you get started with stamps.com today. Sign up with promo code WOA for a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus free postage and a free digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts. Just go to stamps.com, click the microphone at the top of the page, and enter the code WOA. Gosh, that is such a cool story. I love so many things of what you said, and starting with just the relational aspect that you began a relationship with God that was such a friendship. And I love that, God desires it. That's why God sent his son. I mean, obviously to be the sacrifice, but also like Jesus's language is like, I want to be a friend. Like he walks around with these 12 guys like a friend would do, and it's the same for us. And I mean, man, I have a very similar story to how my relationship started with the Lord and kind of walked into the calling that God was going to do. And it was very similar to you. I actually thought that God was asking me to do something I felt incapable of doing. And it was kind of like all of a sudden I was famous, but I didn't want to be. I was like, I don't care about any of this, God. I just want to do what you have for me. The fame really intimidated me. It really scared me. It was really draining to me. And I remember the Lord speaking to me first time ever and saying, I'm not asking you to be famous. I'm asking you to be a sister and a friend to those who don't have one. And it was like the greatest thing that he could have ever said to me, because I was like, I can do that. Like, I know how to do that. I love being a friend. I love being a sister. I don't know anything about that world, but this is like who you've created me to be. Well, that's like a very generic word. So what do you do with that? And so I did the same thing. Well, what would I want to do if it was like my dream? And just started working towards it. And it's so cool because it took years of like figuring out what that looked like and changes and stuff like that. And I look at my life today and I'm like, I cannot believe I'm actually getting to do it. It took a lot of work and a lot of faith, but like, look at what God has done. And so I just think it's really inspiring, because I love how you said a lot of people are waiting on God to move. And I think that God is moving, and he's waiting on you to say yes and start moving yourself, and that wind
100%.
will come behind you. And so I love your story. It's so cool. I love also what you said about he gave you a new heart and a desire for it. I think people need to realize that some of the things that make them who they are, like you were wild and crazy and all those things,
Yeah.
it can be used for bad, but it could
Yep.
also be used for such good when the desire is shifted in the right place. And so how cool that you're still crazy and you're still wild,
Yeah.
but you're crazy and wild about Jesus. And that is sparking such crazy and wild change around the world. So, man, just thanks for sharing that story. And I have to just pause real fast and say the
Yeah.
water slide baptism is probably the greatest idea I've heard thrown
Right?
out on
Come
this
on now.
podcast. So tell me about this dream about this church, because I saw you talk about this in an interview one time, and I was like, that's so epic. Has the church started? Are you still desiring to do that? Where's that at?
Yeah, so it's a big, wild vision. I really want to, when it really launches, want to be really professional, really done right and stuff. But yeah, it's just kind of, I was like in my room praying, and I was just like, man, like, why do little kids fall asleep in church? Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, I feel like a church should look like what it looks like in heaven, and I don't feel like
Cool.
kids will be falling asleep in heaven. So I was like, I want it to be the other way around. Instead of like, the parents dragging the kids to church, get in the van, hop in there. It's the other way around. It's like the kids like, wake up, just like Christmas morning, like, come on, we got to go to church.
Wow.
And it's just kind of this vision to have this massive house party with no drugs, no alcohol, but obviously just like a community, people eating, having fun, water slide for baptisms, a DJ, like crazy stuff, like literally just the wildest stuff ever. The goal of everything is to show people that it's the love of God that transforms us. It's not the setting of rules or setting of things that like fear that brings us to the kingdom. It's like people all the time, they'll tell me like, just serious things or this or that. And I'm like, man, if you really want to know the answer to that question, bro, go in your room, shut the door, no one's looking, get on your knees, just say, Jesus, like, I want to know the truth, God. Like, is this okay to live this way? Is it not okay? Some things might be hard to hear, but they are what I need to hear. But if you say them, you're not going to put something on me that I can't do. You're not going to say fly around like an eagle if I don't have wings. Like when God says anything to us in his word, anything in scripture, like he's going to give us the power to do it. That's what real grace does. Like it's the ability to live righteous, not just like, oh, it's all right, you could do it again, I got you, I'll forgive you. Like that would suck. I honestly tell this all the time, like say this all the time, like, man, if Jesus came and died for us to be slaves to sin on this earth, and then when we're in heaven we're free from sin, that is the dumbest gospel I've ever heard of. Like I would not be following it. Like that sounds like so powerless. But if it's like, no, I came not only to pay for your sins, to pay for your eternity, but give you freedom now in this life, then I'm like, okay, wow, all right, I see what you did here. Like that makes complete sense,
That's so cool. Well, I love how much freedom you walk in, how much joy, and it's evident that the fruit of who God is all over your life, and that comes directly from a relationship with God. So that's so cool. Oh, I saw this somewhere, and I don't know if this is true, but did you really see a Billy Graham video, and that's what helped kind of start your relationship with the Lord?
Yes, I did. I was in my room on YouTube. And I was actually walking upstairs to my room, and there was this guy on TV talking, and I was like, who the heck is that? But that man's got a beautiful voice. Like his voice sounds like Beyonce or something. Like he's like a singer. And my mom is like, that's Billy Graham. Your dad went to a stadium event and he got saved there. Like his name's Billy Graham. So I was like embarrassed, didn't want her to know. I was like curious. So I snuck into my room. I'd type in Billy Graham on YouTube. And it was like heaven or hell. It was just a very intense video about the gospel and just about, are you going to choose to live for yourself? Are you going to choose to live for others and for the kingdom and just, receive Jesus? And I just got so convicted by it. I've never heard like a preacher talk that intense. It's usually just encouragement. It's okay. Like blah, blah, blah. It's like, that stuff's great, but man, I want some candy. Like, tell me the truth. Like, if I'm going to walk around the corner and someone's going to beat me up, tell me. It's not nice of you to like, it's okay. Like you're on a journey. No, I'm not on no journey. Like, tell me the truth. And Billy Graham was doing that. And it just cut me to my core. And I was like, man, holy buckets. Like my pastor's not responsible for my soul. My parents aren't, my friends aren't. Like, people care, but does anyone really, really care where I go when I die in that situation? I was like, I have to take that responsibility. That he's got on my knees right there. It's like, Jesus, I repent. God, I just invite you into my life. I want to know you. And I got saved watching a Billy Graham video. And
come on.
It was pretty fun.
So I know a lot of y'all out there are crushing your workouts. It's been the start of the new year. You are getting it. You're still going, and I am proud of you, friends. Way to go. You and Christian are crushing it. And I am too, okay? I am too. I am 2 days a week going to the gym, getting better. Every night I'm doing a little YouTube video, But let's be real, it takes time, and not every day you can do that. But I have something that you can do every day that is so incredible for your health, so great for your health, and it literally will take you 1 minute to do. It's AG1 by Athletic Greens. They make it so easy to fit in all your nutritional needs in the day. Christian loves healthy habits, obviously. He's very disciplined, and this is one that's easy for him to stick to. He doesn't like taking a lot of pills, nor do I, because it's just not very convenient. But AG1 is so convenient, and it actually has been proven to cause better energy, better focus, all different kinds of things. And Christian has definitely felt that, more energetic, more focused in his day. And when you are drinking this, you are not only getting a good taste, but you're getting 75 vitamins, minerals, and whole food source ingredients that help with just so many great benefits. Like I said, mood, energy, also gut health, which is just huge. I don't think we talk about gut health enough. It impacts our mental health, it impacts everything. And so this is a great thing for you to do. Also, AG1 helps with better looking skin, hair, and nails. So if this is purely about vanity, ladies, just do it. This is awesome. One drink and it's going to help with all the things. And y'all know the last thing I want to do is have a complicated health ritual. Like I said, Christian's really disciplined and good at stuff like this. I am not, however. If something's too complicated, count me in for 2 days of doing it. But this is so easy. Athletic Greens just makes everything really simple, including their vitamin D3 plus K2 drops. I love vitamin D. This has actually helped me with my skin. I noticed a huge difference when I started taking vitamin D. My skin, my bones, teeth, heart, everything. And Athletic Greens, this is literally it. The vitamin D3 K2 drops, just a little bottle that you can squirt. You can put it in a drink. You can put it on your food. You can take it straight up. And they actually have 600 servings in this. And so you are not going to be running out anytime soon. And so I know a lot of y'all are wanting to incorporate healthy habits. And AG1 was literally designed so that it can be easy for you and you don't have to worry about the hustle and bustle. You can literally just take a drink and get all the things you need. So if you're looking for an easier way for health this year, try AG1 by Athletic Greens. And to make it easy for you guys, they're actually going to give you a full year free supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs, which Christian and I love because they're so easy to take on the go. Just go to athleticgreens.com/whoa. That's athleticgreens.com/whoa and check it out, friends. That's so cool. You see, I think that's so cool because so many people harp on social media being such a bad thing. And look, I know there are a lot of bad traits to social media, and we all have to be cautious with those things and responsible for guarding our heart in those areas. But social media can be used for such a tool of spreading the love of God, spreading the truth of the gospel. And I always am like, man, this is so crazy whenever I meet somebody and they're like, I got saved from watching this video of yours from a long time ago, or that video or that podcast is what sent me to start going to church again, or I heard this conversation that you had, or this thing on Instagram that led me to ... in the relationship with Christ. And I'm like, that is so incredible. And you don't have to have a super large platform to be doing that. Whoever you have following you, speak directly to those people, love them well, and you'll be amazed at just how it multiplies. And so I think it's so cool what you're doing, because I think in the same way, people are going to see your generosity in a video, and maybe it's not that moment that they're like, oh, I'm saved. Maybe it is, but maybe they see that and they're like, what is that? I want to be more like that. Yeah. And if that leads them to the Lord, how cool is that? It's awesome.
Yeah, my favorite thing in the world is so years, ever since I was 18 when I got saved, I'm 26 now. For years, I would always just be going up to people at Walmart or whatever, bowling alley, whatever, just say, hey, how you doing? Sorry to bother you. How you doing? Like, anything I could pray for you for? And just pray for them. If they have injuries in their body, pray that just God would touch them and heal them and lead them to Jesus. And just evangelizing always, it's just an essential part of the gospel. So it was so cool. My favorite thing was when I started blowing up and these videos started going crazy. People always like, does it get annoying when people come up to you and want a picture or say hi? I'm like, no, like if anything, times 100, because it's just reverse evangelism. These people come to me. I don't go up to them. They come to me and they already have so much respect for me that I can just love on them, tell them the gospel, pray for them, encourage them, maybe buy their groceries. But it's really fun. I love it so much.
That's awesome. That's so good. So I know you've like hung out with so many different people. You've been able to be generous to so many different people. But is there a story for you that sticks out that you've been a part of that was a big moment for you to see how generosity affects people?
Yeah. I think the coolest moment that I can remember is I was going to do this video. It was the first person to give me a hug. I was going to give him $500. And I walked around, drove around the city for literally like 5-6 hours. And I'd be about to go up to someone to ask them, and I just feel like not peace about it. And I was like, what the heck? Like, I got to get this done. Like, the sun's going down. And I was just, just talking to Jesus, like, God, lead me the right person today, please. And I was like, all right, I guess I can't find him. So I get my little Honda. I'm driving back home. And there's this guy on a bicycle driving. And as soon as I saw him, I just went, that's him. That is him. That is him. So I just pull over. I don't even know there's a parking spot like in someone's driveway, sideways, whatever. I get out, I run down the road and like get in front of him and then walk slow or whatever, to where he just thinks I'm walking. And I'm like, sir, stop. And he stops his bike with his feet because the brakes don't even work. And I said, I had such a bad day, man. Could you just give me a hug? I just need to feel that embrace of someone. Can you just give me a hug? And he didn't speak much English, not a ton of English, but he goes, sure, I'll give you a hug. So he gets off the bike, gives me a hug. And I go, thanks so much, man. I'm just seeing the first person to be kind enough to share some empathy, and I got $500 for you. And he just starts breaking down in tears. Wow. This grown man, probably 50 some years old. Wow. And he goes, today at work, the boss paid everybody except for me. I didn't get paid anything, and I worked the same as everyone else. But he came from El Salvador, undocumented immigrant and stuff. And so because of that, the workforce, they can kind of mess with you because you're not going to turn them into the police. It's just a complicated situation. But this is the awesomest guy ever. And the reason he lives here and works in the States is because he's from El Salvador. He's got a wife, kids, everything, but the economy is so bad there, he can't provide for them. So he came here 18 years ago and has been working, sending them money to keep them afloat and provide for his family. And he's only seen his wife and kids on FaceTime. He can't leave the country because then he can't get back in. And so I was like, man, this is crazy. And he's just an awesome Christian. He just loves the Lord. And I was like, man, like, I just want to be friends with you. And he's like, yes, Jimmy, let's go around, help some people. So we literally went on like a tour to like 3 states, drove around in my car, stayed in hotels together. And we just helped people together and became friends. And I was like, Jose, man, I got a surprise for you. And over the course of a few months, I ended up telling him that we raised like over $50,000 for him. What? And his goal was to get to like 30,000 or whatever. Then he can move home. It'd be enough to be good. Because he told me $10,000 can buy a home in El Salvador. So he's got 50 grand. So he ends up getting the money, moves home in time for Christmas. And he's got pictures hugging his wife at the airport. He's balling out now. Like, he used to be a business owner back in the day. So I'm sure now he has like employees and he's like running a whole operation, but it's just so cool. And his wife kept saying, he kept telling his wife before he met me, he kept saying, I'm going to be home Christmas. I'm going to come home to see you on Christmas. And she's like, you're crazy. What are you talking about? And he's like, no, I trust God. Like, I'm going to be home for Christmas. And sure enough, his faith ended up doing something, and it worked out.
Oh my gosh, that is like the coolest thing ever. I think so much of what you said is the things that you don't get to see on social media, because I'm a huge fan of what you do. I've been following along for a while. My husband and I both, every time you post a video, we're sending it to each other. Do you see this one? Do you see this one? We love it. I mean, I'll get stuck on your page just watching them. Ones I've already seen just because it's so powerful. And so, but you don't get to hear that story of, I drove around for 6 hours. The sun was going down. I'm asking the Lord, send me who it is, because the reality is, like, you could have gone up to anybody, but you didn't feel a peace about it. And there was something that the Lord was doing. There's something the Holy Spirit was doing, having you wait for the guy to drive by on the bicycle that had been praying for the thing that you were about to get to be a part of answering his prayer. And I just love how God uses his people. So how big of a element is that to what you do is like your prayer life? Because I think, again, that's not what you see on Instagram, but hearing the backstory on that makes that actually so much more powerful.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like, if you don't take it with Pops for 5, 10, 15 days and go and try to do a video, like, you'll just feel dead. And like, you gotta be kicking it with him, like it's like if you go 3-4 days without eating food, it's going to be pretty rough, right? It's not going to be too great. And hanging out with God is literally food for your spirit. And so you go a day, 2 days, you might be fine, but longer than that. And so it's really important, to kick it with Jesus, make sure the heart is right. It's always to just be
good.
led to the right people, do it with him, and just understand their eternal value. And like, you're not just making a video, but you're actually talking to a human, hearing their life story, seeing if heaven can invade that situation and restore it.
I think that's why there's a lot of reasons why what you've done has been so successful, but I think that's one reason why the wind of God is so behind what you're doing, is because you truly care about people. And I think that a lot of people try to build a platform the fast way, the way that people tell them how. But I always tell them, like, they're like, Sadie, how did you start doing what you're doing? I couldn't even tell you. I can't tell you any type of formula. It's really based out of a relationship with God, and things just by a series of several events, people coming in, prayers, this happening, like it just began to form.
Yeah.
And I think with what you're doing is you care so much about the people that it's actually a sustainable thing. It's not like you were a one-hit wonder. You had this viral video on TikTok from a guy in Miami and that was the end, because if you didn't care about people, it wouldn't last long. But you just sat here and told me for 3, 4, 5 minutes the entire guy's story, which means it wasn't just a 1-minute video that you had put together and posted and never thought about it again. It was days, months of a relationship with somebody. And I think, when you walk with integrity, when you walk with authenticity, when you're doing something because it's actually what you're called to do out of the relationship you have with the Lord, it's so much more long lasting than the temporary highs of fame that so many of us chase when it comes to social media. So just to stop and encourage people who are listening, if you're wanting to build a platform, I just encourage you, don't look at it as like, oh, I'm building a platform of numbers, or I'm trying to build a platform for success, or my goal is to hit 5 million. Like, what does that mean if there's not meaning behind it? What does that mean if there's not purpose attached to it? What does it mean if you don't love people well? If there's not something that's actually moving people to essentially eternity, know? And 100%. So I just love that what you're doing holds so much more value, and I think truly that's why it is so long lasting. I think that's why it is so amazing and moving. I think that's why people watch your videos and they cry, because it's more than just a moment, and I love that. Y'all, I love getting to talk about this partner on this podcast, because ultimately it's why we do what we do, so that people can hear God's word and enter into a personal relationship with him. Cru is one of the largest evangelical organizations with over 25,000 missionaries in almost every country. For many of you listening, you have access to God's word, whether that's on your phone or your Bible. Now, whether you use that or not, that's up to you, but the reality is you have it. And for a lot of people, the reality is they do not have access to the Bible, and I honestly can't even imagine what that would be like to be in a country where you can't get a Bible, or you're not even allowed to have a Bible. And that's why I love Cru, because they are giving Bibles around the world to people in their own heart language and sharing the hope of Jesus. But here's where they need your help, and this is really important, friends. We can talk about all day long how this needs to happen, but until we put our money where our mouth is, it's just not going to happen. So for $21 a month, you can provide 3 people with Bibles each and every month. When you sign up to provide 3 Bibles with a monthly gift of $21 as a thank you, Cru will provide meals to 5 hungry families through their humanitarian aid ministry, and you'll actually receive a copy of my devotional book, Live on Purpose. If you haven't read Live on Purpose, it's a devotional book. You're going to get devotionals that really are just practical for everyday life on how to live on purpose right where you're at with what you have. But friends, this is like literally what we're called to go and make disciples. And you might not be able to go to another country and to do that, but part of us living out our purpose is to in some way be involved with furthering the church and the ministry of the gospel. And I think this is a great way to be involved. So maybe text a few friends, maybe I'll each Venmo $7 a month and do this together. I mean, this is a great thing for everyone to get behind and be a part of. Giving 3 Bibles away, imagine the lives that can change through that. Not just the lives now, but generations to come. So just text purpose to 71326 to help today. Like I said, imagine how much this gift could truly change the trajectory of someone's life by just texting purpose to 71326. That's purpose, PURPOSE, to 71326 to help now, or visit give.cru.org/purpose. That's CRU.org/purpose. The offer is available to U.S. residents only, and message and data rates may apply. is there a reason you prompt people with "give me a hug" or the first person who, you know, chases me in Walmart, whatever it is? Like, all your things are so crazy. Is there a reason why you have a crazy prompt at the beginning?
Yeah. So basically, I realized the power of Cash App and blessing and like raising funds for people with that guy in Miami. And then when I came out to California, I was like, I've seen hundreds of videos, people helping people on the internet and stuff like that. Wonder if I could like do it different to where mainly the focus isn't even on me. It's actually on the person, the whole video. And so that's what I love. Actually, it's like crazy when people come up to me in public. So I'm like, how do you even know what I look like? My face isn't even in the videos. Sometimes
awesome.
at the end I'll dance for a second or whatever, but yeah, it's always kind of this first person point of view. And so I was just walking one day and I literally was like, I saw this family crossing the street. I was like, I'm going to ask them for money, like for a burrito or for food. And if they do, I'm going to give them $100. And this family came and the guy goes, you need food. So he hands me his burrito. Then the daughter gives me like $1. They just keep helping me. I'm like, oh my gosh, I actually didn't need any of that. I want to give you $100 for your kindness. And really from there on, it just started. I was like, oh my gosh, like how has no one really done this or thought of this? Like where you just ask for help first and then reward them for it, because then 99% of the comments are about Marco or Teresa helping you. It's like 40% of the comments are about me because it's all about them in the video. They're the star. And that's why
cool.
I love it. And that's why I can just run so well and so good at doing this, because I'm kind of like behind the scenes. And even though I'm the one making the video, it's just fun. Like the attention is on them. And it's so cool because one of my favorite things is when these people help me, maybe they give me 50 cents at the laundromat for clothes or this or that. I guarantee you all of them have been helping people their whole life. Yeah. And that's like one time they actually got recognized for it,
Wow,
so it's like,
that's cool.
It's not, they didn't just randomly just help me that day. And the other 40 years they didn't. Like they've done it in secret so long. And now they want to get put up there. People see them, their friends, their family celebrate them. Sometimes we get money raised for them. And it's just so awesome to celebrate those kind people.
I love it so much. So one thing from watching your videos, like I said, huge fan, but it inspired me. I was like, hey, what can I do that will help people? And so I started doing this. I've never posted about this or videoed this. I just do it, and it's so fun. And so I always, like, whenever I'm checking out at the cash register, and it's interesting because there will be sometimes that I don't have peace about it. There'll be sometimes I'm like, oh, I know this is a person. And it's so cool to work with God in that and see who God has in mind. And the first time it happened, I was talking to this lady, and it just helped me. One thing your videos helped me do is like recognize the people in front of me and get to know their story. So I was like, she was like bagging on my stuff, and she was doing such a good job at it. Like I just recognized that she made sure that the chicken was in its own thing and that everything was just like perfectly done. And I did not organize it on the counter. She did that. Right. And I said, you're so good at bagging. And she said, well, you get good at it when you've been doing it for 25 years. I said, you've been doing this for 25 years? And she said, yeah, I started out here and now I'm at Walmart. And I said, well, that's great. I said, well, you can tell you're so good at what you do. So then what I did was when it said, do you want cash back? I clicked yes, hit the number for cash back. And she said, do you want 20s or whatever? I said, oh yeah, whatever you got. And as she went to give it to me, I said, oh, that's a gift for you. I said, that's just for 25 years of great work. And she started crying. And she came around and she hugged me. And so I've been doing that. And it's like so cool. I'll just always ask for cash back. And I just say, well, it's a gift for you. And it's just so cool to see the different reactions of, like, and you never know. It's the people. I got to do it at Thanksgiving for someone working at CVS. I was like, that's just for working on your day off. And the only thing I could get back that day, because the CVS one was like, you could only get $20 back. Yeah. And I said, I wish I could give you more, but here's this. Right. And she cried, and it was $20 on Thanksgiving, and it just meant so much to her. And so I want to talk to you about that, like people out there who can't give a ton, but what does it look like to give with what you have? Because I've noticed that it doesn't really matter the dollar amount that I've given to people. It really just matters that I notice them, and that is the thing that changes the moment.
Yes, 100%. Oh, the most impactful thing I can remember that anyone's done for me, like I'm sure friends have like done stuff or whatever, but the most impactful thing ever, I was actually in like Fargo, North Dakota, driving across the country, and I got a haircut at like Sports Clips or something. I was getting a haircut, and then I was going to leave and pay, and they're like, oh yeah, like that older gentleman over there, like some guy's like 70 paid for your haircut. I was like, what? you're kidding me. What? It's like $20 haircut. And I was just so shook by that. I literally got in my car. I called like everyone I knew. I was like, you're not
so
going to
nice.
believe this. Some guy paid for my haircut. Like, it just is crazy, you know, because that stuff's so rare to happen to you. Like, if I went to Starbucks literally right now and someone bought me a drink, I would be shook. Literally. Like, I would be like, what? Like, that is crazy. Like, that is so crazy because everything in culture is so selfish and self-centered. To do something like that is so powerful. And so it's so true. Literally just opening your door for someone, or if someone's watching this, they literally have no funds at all to give and they're just barely getting by. Literally, I challenge you, next time you go to the grocery store and you're about to check out, literally just tell the person behind you, hey, you can go, like, I'll let you go in front of me. Just that will probably shake them and they'll be so confused in an amazing way. That's cool. Like, you do not need funds at all to be able to bless people and to do that. That's just an extension of what you can use. But
that's so cool. One thing I'm curious about, because this happened to me the other day, and this is the first time this happened to me in doing this, and I'm sure this happened to you before, but I went to give her the cash. I said, oh, that's for you, that's a gift. And she was like, no, I don't want that. And I was like, no, I mean, it's just a gift. I want you to have it. And she was like, no, like, I cannot take that. Like, she was like very adamant. And I was like, okay, well, and then the guy beside her who was buying, he said, I'll take it. And I was like, okay, well, you can have it. And it was like just kind of a weird moment. It just like, it was like, man, that was weird. Cause it wasn't like she was like humbly just like, oh, I can't take it. It was just like almost like, no, I'm not going to take it. But when I noticed, and it was just a weird moment, I was like, okay, that was a little bit weird. Well, then the next time I went to do it for someone, I felt a little bit nervous because I was like, what if they say no? And I know a lot of it for people who are, who haven't, you know, been generous with their time or their money or whatever it is a lot of it not because they don't want to be generous, because they're afraid of the response from the people. And so have you had moments where people have turned you down, or it's been awkward, or you're like, well, that was kind of weird? And how do you get past like the nerves that go along with stepping out, putting yourself in front of a stranger?
So sometimes if it's the situation where I can really tell they don't need the money or don't want it, and they're just literally like, bless someone else that needs it more, sometimes I go, okay, no worries, and go find someone else that's more in a situation like that. But if it's somebody that is in need, or just the average person, you know, and they say no, a lot of the times it's because, it's like in our lives, we grew up and everything you get is what you work for and you have to earn everything. But grace, the kingdom, is all the opposite. We get what we don't deserve. We get forgiveness. And so really having that perspective for these people and just wanting them to get freedom. And a lot of times I'll just say like, nah, bro, like you got to take this, or literally you're going to ruin my day. Like, you're amazing. If you want to throw this on the sidewalk or like flush it on the toilet, I don't care, but I want you to have this. You're amazing. And it's actually more humble for you to take this right now than to not take it. And I want you to receive this gift. That's cool. Just like every time they'll take it basically, but 100%. Cool. I'm working on some things right now to, like get my community more involved and helping out and giving back and get rid of some of those fears and stuff for that. But it's definitely something that, like, the more you do it, just confidence with God. It says in the Bible, just like the righteous are as bold as a lion. And so when you really understand your righteousness is from him, and that, he sees you and you're just clean and you're so loved, like you can go out and just be so bold and just know that, man, if somebody treats you wrong, if somebody freaks out at you, like, it's not because of you, it's because something probably happened to them when they were a kid or that morning, or someone cut them up in traffic, and just a manifestation of those things. The real them would love to be friends with you, would love to receive that gift, would love to know God. It's just so many things have probably happened that that there's these different responses, but deep down it's like, I don't care if I go up to someone and try to tell them about Jesus and love on them and they're freaking out, cussing me out. It's literally, I just see it as them screaming, saying, please, I need a hug. I need more love. Like, I need help, you know, like they're just using those words to find something. But it's amazing. Everyone is so precious.
I love the bold as a lion, because it's true. Like, whenever you have a strong relationship with Christ and you trust God with who he is and who he created you to be, you get this boldness over you, and you really see it if you study the life of Peter. Peter, you know, was kind of more of a afraid person. Whenever Jesus was with him, he, you know, obviously he had this crazy faith, but he had this crazy fear attached to it. He would like go to walk on the water and then he would sink, you know, or he would, you know, want to be so there for the Lord. He'd cut the dude's ear off, and then the same night he denies that he even knows Jesus. He had this like faith, but he also had this fear, and he kind of danced in this walk with that. But then after Jesus was resurrected and they came back together and had this epic redemption of their relationship, and it was like, do you love me? Feed my sheep. Do you love me? Do you love me? This whole just really intimate time together. After that, you never see that fear in Peter again. You see this crazy boldness. It literally says that he was like known for his boldness. I mean, when Peter walked by, people were getting healed from Peter's shadow. Like, it was like crazy stuff was happening. And that really is what happens when you have a relationship with the Lord. I think it's because you don't care about you so much. You know, you care about the people in front of you. So you're not thinking about yourself, you're thinking about people, which leads you to do things that get you out of your head, and you're not so insecure. So you're doing things that cause a little bit more bravery or boldness, but you're not even thinking that you're trying to muster up bravery or boldness, because it's just given to you from the Spirit. And I think that that's the thing that you're doing. I was trying to say this earlier, but I think a better way of saying it is you're not just doing this to build a platform, you're doing this to love people. And that's why it works, because you're not doing this for Jimmy to look good. You're doing this because you love Teresa, you love, you know, John, whoever. You're actually like doing it for them. And so if they were to deny you, well, it's not really on you. It's with something that they're going through. So you don't take things so personally. And I think
my favorite preacher, hands down. Like, I tell people this all the time. I'll like go up to people in grocery stores. I'll be like, don't look me up on YouTube. Please look this man up instead. Dan Mohler. I don't know if you've heard of him, but I tell people to look him up. Like, literally the most it's just candy. But one of the best things I heard him say is, he's like, yeah, like, it doesn't make sense. People say the people that love you the most can hurt you the most. He's actually like, no, love is so selfless. True love, so selfless. Love is so selfless that the people close to you can't hurt you the most, because true love is it's really all about giving. It's not about taking. It's not, I love you. Do you love me back? Say it, honey. Like, no, it's literally, I love you no matter what you do. And that's true kingdom love. And I know that's a crazy concept, but it really is a way to live. And we can truly live unoffendable like Jesus lived in his heart. And there's so much freedom there.
That's good. Gosh, I love this so much. Everything you've said has been so good. I feel like people are going to be so encouraged by this, and I know that they are. I've been so encouraged. I knew this was going to be a fun conversation, but I didn't know how much, like, just richness this was going to carry. The way that you talk about Jesus, the way that you spit out just verses in the Bible and different concepts about who God is just honestly so fun to listen to. And I'm so grateful that you said yes to doing this. So I heard somewhere I think this was from Jason, your good friend Jason Kennedy's Instagram, that he was he was talking about doing a TV show with you. Is that happening? Is that something in the works? What's next for you?
Yeah, me, Jason, and Taylor, we all have it in our hearts to do that, you know, kind of just at a bigger scale, to bless more people, to get into living rooms in America, provide something where people can kind of just come together, watch something, and get inspired to go out and do it. So we're working on that. We've been working on it for a while, just pitching to different networks and stuff like that. So we'll see what happens. You know, if God's on it and blesses it, that'll be awesome. If not, that's okay. But either way, it's going to be fun. This has been an absolute blast.
I love it. Well, everybody, of course, go follow him on social media. If you're not, you will be blessed from that. And I really do pray and encourage you guys to not just take what you've heard today, but put action behind what you've heard. Let that faith spark action. And I can't wait to see different things on social media, hear different stories about the people that you guys have blessed and encouraged, not because you have all the finances of the world, but just because you have a heart to love people. And so, Jimmy, thank you so much for encouraging us today. You're awesome. Can't wait to see the videos that are to come and hear the awesome stories.
Thank you so much. Bless you guys. And let's go get it. Let's go spread some kindness. Let our little lights shine. And let's have a good time doing it.
It's awesome.